When you think about your yard, what's the first word that comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably chore, or maybe even battle. We're always mowing, weeding, spraying. But what if there's a whole new way to look at it? Today, we're diving into edible forest gardens. It's this amazing idea about rethinking the land we live on, not as a constant fight, but as a living, breathing partnership that actually builds on itself.
And this quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? I mean, think about a normal lawn. Every time you throw down fertilizer or pull a dandelion, you're intervening. You're forcing that piece of land to be something it really doesn't want to be, just a flat green carpet of one single plant. The whole system becomes totally dependent on you, and suddenly, you're the one carrying all the weight. It's no wonder it's so exhausting.
So if you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. The conventional yard is a one-way street. You pour in energy, water, work, and what you get out is more work. But a forest garden, it's designed from the start to be a cycle. It's all about diversity. The goal flips from trying to control nature to actually working with it. And the result? You get a system that, over time, pretty much takes care of itself.
Which brings us to this huge, game-changing question. What if we could just copy the blueprint from the most successful, self-sufficient systems on Earth, forests, and use that right in our own backyards? I mean, just imagine a garden that could basically water itself, fertilize itself, and even protect itself from pests.
And that, my friends, is exactly what an edible forest garden is. Now, this isn't about just letting your backyard go completely wild. Not at all. It's a thoughtfully designed ecosystem where every single plant has a job, or maybe even 2 or 3 jobs. It copies the patterns of a natural woodland to create this incredible garden that's low maintenance but gives you tons of food, beauty, and a place for wildlife to thrive. It really is a partnership through and through.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How does it work? Well, it really boils down to 2 big ideas. And the first one is all about structure. We have to mimic the forest's architecture. See, a forest isn't flat, right? It's got layers, and every single one of those layers is a place where something can grow.
So instead of just that one layer of grass, a forest garden is all about stacking life, literally, from the ground up. Way up top, you've got your tall canopy trees. Think nut trees or big fruit trees. Then, tucked underneath them, you've got smaller dwarf fruit trees. Then a layer of shrubs like berry bushes. Below that, herbs and perennial veggies. And you're not done. On the floor, you've got ground cover, like strawberries, and even a root layer underground. You're using every inch of space and sunlight. It's just so efficient.
And here's the part I find absolutely brilliant. The goal isn't to make it look perfect and uniform like split pea soup, as the authors say. No, we want a lumpy texture. All that variety, tall things next to short things, dense patches next to open spots, that creates all these little micro-habitats. And what do more habitats mean? It means more homes for the good guys, the beneficial insects, the pollinators, the birds that do the pest control for you and keep the whole system healthy.
All right, so that's the architecture, what we can see up top. But the real secret sauce, the engine that drives this entire thing, is hidden. It's the second principle, the underground economy.
Just think about it for a second. What is really going on under your feet? In a typical lawn, honestly, not a whole lot. But under a forest garden? Oh, it's a bustling, invisible metropolis down there. It's this super complex web of fungi and bacteria and all sorts of microorganisms. And that is the key to everything.
And this is where it just gets mind-blowing. The planets aren't just sitting there. They're actively building this underground city. Get this. A tree can send as much as 80%, 80, of the energy it makes from the sun down through its roots and out into the soil. It's literally pumping out sugars to feed all that soil life. That is a massive investment. So why? Why would a plant give away that much of its hard-earned energy?
Well, because it's not a gift. It's a brilliant investment. In return for those sugars, the plant gets an entire support system. This is what the underground economy gives back. The microbes act like a pantry, storing and delivering nutrients right when the plant needs them. They fight off pests and diseases like a natural immune system. They build this amazing soil structure that holds water like a sponge. It's a self-feeding, self-protecting loop. And that is why a mature forest garden doesn't need us to come in with chemical fertilizers and pesticides.
Okay, so let's pull all this out of the world of theory. What does this actually look like in a real space? Let's build one right now, in our minds, layer by layer.
So first, we plant the giants,
The canopy. Instead of just some random shade tree, what if your canopy was made of delicious pear trees, or hardy chestnuts, or sweet persimmons? These guys give you the main structure and some seriously high-value food.
All right, the canopy's in. Now underneath those big guys, we start weaving in the next level. We can pack this shrub layer with things like blueberries, raspberries, even hazelnuts. They do great in the dappled sunlight, and they give you a totally different harvest to look forward to.
And finally, the floor, the ground itself. And no, we are not talking about boring old grass. We're talking about a living carpet that actually works for you. We could use a mix of strawberries for fresh fruit, comfrey, which has these deep roots that mine for nutrients and bring them up for everyone else to share, and clover, which literally pulls nitrogen fertilizer out of thin air. See, every plant has a purpose.
So when you look at it all together, it's just a totally different way of seeing things, isn't it? It's a shift from a relationship based on control to one that's all about collaboration. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What if your yard wasn't this constant chore, this thing you have to fight all the time, but a thriving, self-sufficient partnership that's just waiting to happen?